Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's Midday Western U.S. Regional Forecast video brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. I want to begin first with a view from MODIS. MODIS is a NASA satellite in low Earth orbit, and it takes some pretty high-resolution views of our planet. And what we're looking at here is the Western United States. And what I love about this image is what I don't see. And what I don't see is widespread wildfires. When we just look back throughout recent history, normally this time of year we're dealing with a lot of fire activity, or at least it is ramping up. And so to be able to see it look so green from space and so void of smoke is such a fantastic thing to talk about here in middle of August. Now, we did have the release of the latest U.S. Drought Monitor, and it's not to say that every place in the Western United States is doing great. We did not anticipate this region really changing much in terms of drought much this summer, simply because it's summertime. It's normally the drier season. And despite some really heavy rainfall that we saw in the last week or so, well, about a week ago here in the Northwest, we aren't overall changing that drought picture. Outside of that, the southwestern part of the United States, well, we've missed out on decent monsoonal flow, especially in parts of Arizona and Utah. Despite a lot of the thunderstorm activity being focused here a little bit farther to the east, we're still dealing with some developing drought and a lack of monsoonal moisture in Arizona. But one thing I want to point out that's a major positive is California. Now, we've had the U.S. Drought Monitor since the year 2000, so we can actually go into any individual state and graph what percentage of the state area, that's the y-axis here, what percentage of the state area has been covered in drought. And if we look right now in 2019, way over here on the right-hand side, we are largely void of it. Last time this happened, back here in 2011. Before that, 2005, summer 2005, and then you got to go back to the summer of 2000 to see the previous one. Now, please don't read too much into this. You can see here that after each one of our drought-free time periods, we seem to go right back into it. I'm not saying this is going to be happening immediately. What we'll have to do, though, is we'll have to watch what our wet seasons look like, because drought in the Western United States comes when the rainy season is less rainy than normal. And then we have our hot and dry summers. Now, you can go look at any individual state. Just pause the video, type in that URL, and you can see any state in the United States for what their drought history looks like back to the year 2000. It's a great resource. But moving forward, we're going to have to step up and take a look at the flow of the atmosphere, because it is a mess right now in the Pacific. We've talked about this all week. Take a look at the flow right now. Weak Canadian storm track. Look at this. High over low, over high. Things are blocked up and messy in the Gulf of Alaska to Hawaii. And as a consequence, that blocked up flow, well, you're going to see one important thing in this forecast, and that is with time, the blocking up here is going to allow for bigger ridging to be happening in the western part of the United States. And I got to tell you what that means in terms of temperatures and precipitation. But let's first see it happen here with our European ensemble. You can already see, look, here's the big ridge and there's the trough. And what I want to animate for you here is where these particular features are going in the near term. So here we go. As we click play, look at the ridge we're expecting to build by the 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th of August across the western half of North America. We've had a pretty clear signal all week long that this is going to be the trend in the flow of the atmosphere out west. And this is what it means in terms of the accumulation of precipitation. I can assure you that you can imagine what's going to happen here. That is nothing. Under that big, large ridge, this is more of an influence of what it's going to do for heat. Some important things to note. I had been earlier in the week concerned about the potential for storms out in parts of the Northwest. But since then, because of the change in the flow of the jet stream through the Canadian prairies, that next system is going to largely miss most of the Pacific Northwest. We do see the southwestern monsoon trying. I mean, you can see this kind of push in here of moisture, but that didn't come until late in the time period. Normally, we would see a whole lot more thunderstorm activity pushing into this area. You can see also a tropical system here that's moving out of the eastern Pacific, but overall, very, very dry time period moving forward here in the forecast, which again, it is midsummer. We expect that. So let's now focus on what temperatures do. We already have excessive heat advisories and warnings out through the Central Valley and through parts of the desert Southwest down here, and this is going to continue to be a problem. We have some short-term relief coming from it, which we talked about earlier this week, but the heat is going to come right back on. I want to take you to the Northwest first before I focus on California. And just start you off here, you can see in the day on Friday, these are very seasonable temperatures. This is not too far outside of normal, so upper 80s here, maybe a little bit cooler than normal in parts of the Columbia Basin, and same thing down here in the Snake River Valley. As we press play, let's just get out here past Friday into our weekend. So Saturday, much of the same. Sunday, we start to see some heat building into the Snake River Valley here, so getting back up into the middle upper 90s. But look at this. I got you out Monday. Tuesday, some warmth coming in, but these temperatures aren't too far outside of our normals, okay? So we're not seeing extreme heat, even though you do see temperatures getting back up in the middle upper 90s by next Wednesday and Thursday. But this, again, isn't too extreme for the Northwest. Where we see the extremes coming in is what's going on in California. Here's your forecast high temperatures today. A lot of 103 to 107 degree temperatures here across the Central Valley of California, with temperatures in the low 1-teens down there in parts of the desert. Playing forward, take a look at where our temperatures are going here. So we do get some relief. So this is Friday. Saturday, things calm down a bit. A lot of upper 90s with some triple-digit heat still down here in the San Joaquin Valley. Sunday, nice. Remember, we saw this, but watch what happens as we get into next week. So there's Monday. Tuesday, the heat comes back on. Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, so we're going to continue to see the heat building back in under that developing ridge that's out west. To put it a bit more in aggregate, let's just take a look here at the next 5 days in terms of temperature anomalies. That's over here on the right. So the heat today cooling off a little bit, and like we said, maybe a slight cool bias in parts of the Pacific Northwest. But look at what happens by the time we get out to day 5 through 10. That's when that ridge really builds in here, and that brings back in the heat into the western part of the United States. Now, there are some places in the West that would like to see this. Overall, while we're doing decently well with the accumulation of heat this year, there are some places that are in deficit and could be using some heat. We just don't want it to come in extremes like this. It's taking you all the way out here to the 10 to 15 day time period, which gets us all the way through the end of August. You can clearly see the bias here toward heat. So I think this is going to be our main story moving forward out west is the heat that is coming in due to that flow pattern really stagnating over the Pacific and allowing for more ridging out west. So we're going to watch this over the weekend, continue to analyze this, see what our new long-range projections look like, to come right back to you on Monday and tell you what we think. But this at least gets you to the end of August here. And again, the name of the game, I think, is going to be watching the development of that ridge. Some pretty good model agreement here that it is coming and that it will be a permanent feature as we continue to move throughout the middle part of our summer. Okay, we'll go ahead and wrap it up right there. We at Nutrien Ag Solutions thank you for your attention. Hope you look forward to our next updates next week. Have a great weekend. Thank you.